So the little rolling stone thing, basically we're playing 3 strings. We're playing strings 4, 3, and 2. Again, they start at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're playing 4, 3, and 2. So basically there's 2 triad shapes we're using. We'll call them the A shape and the C shape, because they're all derived from, your major chord A, which is 5 strings, but we only need 3 because 2 of them are duplicated as far as the notes go. There's only, it's an A chord. There's just a root, third, and a fifth in there. So we just need the root and third and the fifth. It happens to be right in the middle of what you're playing, the strings 4, 3, and 2. That's triad. 4, 3, 2. That's an A. Actually, if I don't fret it at all, that's a G. A. Up a whole step. Give us a chromatic scale there. It would be to your B. 5th fret, there's your C. And all we're doing is back to the A, so we just follow that pattern. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So that's the A shape, and that's the one that's being used here. We're using the A shape on that chord. That's the A shape. There's the A shape. This is the C shape. We'll get into the C shape here in a second, but I want you to see that A chord, or that A shape rather, triad. Those 3 strings derived from the A chord. Now if we take the C chord, again we're playing 5 strings. Only 3 notes make up the chord, the root, third, and the fifth, which just so happen to be the same, that same fingering. Fingers are 4, 3, and 2. 4, 3, and 2. That's your C chord, 3 C triad. Now we can move that to a different spot, but the string 3, the 1, 2, 3, third string is played open in a C chord, right? Well, if we move this, we can't play that open again. It's going to sound bad. So we're going to have to shift our fingers a little bit. In fact, we don't even need our ring finger for any of this, because we're only playing strings 4, 3, and 2, so we don't need the 5th string on there. So we don't even need that finger. So we can just use these 2 fingers. But again, when we move it, we have to change our fingering a little bit to accommodate playing that the G string. Because if we move this 1, 2 frets, okay, we got to switch our fingers around, because we're going to have to fret 1, 2 on the G string. Okay, that follows the fingering. So you have to look at that and go, what finger would work the best? Well, you can't get any of these over there. These aren't going to go here. We need to go here. We can't get a finger over there. So you have to switch your fingers around. So I'm going to take my index finger and I'm going to put it over here. And then I'm going to take my middle finger and I'm going to put it where the index was. And then I'm going to use my ring finger and put it where the other finger was. So there's the shape. C shape. Again, I'm only playing 3 notes. I can just lay my finger across here. The whole idea of this finger is to just fret that 3rd string. Okay? But I can lay it across there. It sounds the same. Why lay it across? Well, because if I lift it up, it's another triad. Just like here, we're going from whereas if I didn't lay it down, I would have to be more changing going on than what it's worth. Well, if you just start with it there, because it's not doing anything else, because you're only fretting three notes, and you know this is behind these two, so it's not affecting. If I'm sitting on top of this string, it doesn't matter. This finger's on top of this string. It doesn't matter because this one's doing the fretting, so anything behind it isn't going to affect the sound. You know, if you're fretting on that same string. So, so there's your triad shape. C shape, we're going to call it. So when we start down up here, we use our C shape at the 12th fret. Again, we're playing the same exact triad. It's just a C-shaped triad. And then we lift off these two fingers and we got our A-shaped triad. Again, here it's A-shaped triad, A-shaped triad, C-shaped triad, C-shaped triad. Now you notice I say shapes, A-shaped triad, but actually you're playing a C chord. I say C-shaped triad, actually that's an F. Why? Well, if this is C, D, E, and there's our F. F to C. Now if you tried playing F to C up here, there's a lot of movement going on. But when you're using your triads, it's real simple. You're just lifting your fingers. Same here, except we're starting with the C, going to the A shape, then starting here with the A shape twice, to the C shape twice. So there you go, a couple of easy triad shapes that once you learn them and learn the fingerings on them, they can be helpful. It's also helpful to know, where the root of that shape is. So we've got, there's our A shape, right? Played as an A chord. Same three strings, 4, 3, 2. One of those is going to be a root. Happens to be the G string. So it's right in the middle. So because you got your D string, your G string where your root is, and then your B string. So it's going to be the same here. Root's going to be in the middle of the G string. It's always, wherever you put it, the root is going to be on the G string. So that identifies the chord. So it's good to know the notes on the strings, or get some idea of the notes on the strings, so that you can know, hey, I can play that. What chord is that? Well, I know the root is on the G. What note is that? Well, it's the same, it's an octave away from this note, right? Because 2 over 2 up. Well, hey, I know that. I know that's an E. Why? Well, because that's a C. I knew that. The 5th string. I knew that's a D, and so that's an E. So that right there is your E chord. Because we know the root is E, and that makes it a root. 3rd and a 5th. That's your. So those are some of the reasons it's good to try to learn triads and learn the notes on the guitar, kind of to memorize. But using that octave, tracing back to the 5th of the 6th string is really effective. You have to look at it. Those are all octaves apart. Same note, just an octave apart. So when I finger a C chord, hey, there's my root C. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's a C as well. And there's my, if I do my triad, there's the C that we're using in the same. So a little bit of triad usage there that hopefully is starting to make a little bit of sense. You got your D triad as well. Basically playing the bottom 3 strings. Strings 1, 2, and 3. Again, starts the skinniest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're playing strings 3, 2, 1. That's a D. If we know our chromatic scale, D sharp, E, F, G, A, B, so out of this this little triangle here, the D shape, call this the D shape. The root is on the B string. That's your D note. It's a D chord. Here's your D note root. So if that's a D note there on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret is your D. If we go, what comes after D? D sharp. Comes after D sharp. E, F, F sharp G, G sharp A. So there would be an A chord. It's good to know where that root is. It's right there in that little triangle. It's right in the middle of the triangle. So there's a couple of really easy triads that from common shapes that you know, C and D and A. And you got E. You're like, does this ever end? Well, let's look at the skinniest 3 strings. notice we're fretting with the E chord. We're fretting the G string, the 3 string, at the 1st fret. And these two are open. So with those open, and you move this up 2 frets. So here, 1 fret, 2 fret. Play those bottom 3 strings. Sounds really bad. They were fretted here when we played it here. They were fretted there. They're still fretted there. So they didn't change. They need to move as well. So you use your finger. So instead of, here's where they played open. Half step, whole step. Again, you got your E, you're fretting here, these two are open, fretting on the 3rd string. So to compensate, we're moving this 2 frets, 1, 2, and then we're having to move this 2 frets, 1, 2. So we're barring here the 2 skinny strings, and we're putting another, we're using that. There's another triad, just derived from the E. So that's actually E if we're just playing it using one finger, playing the 3rd string, 1st fret. These other 2 are open. Strings 2 and 1 are open. That's an E chord. As we go up the neck, you've got to keep that same fretting going on from the nut to here. 1 step, that's an F chord. It's an F sharp. And just use your chromatic. F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, etc., etc. Now where's the root on those 3? If this is an E chord, again we're just fretting the G, leaving these other 2 open, bottom 2 strings open. That's our E chord. There's our root note. It's on the skinniest string. It's going to continue to follow. And we play the triad up the neck. So again, there's the root note, which is in this case the A at this position. So there's your A chord. B chord, C chord. There's root. It's on the skinny string. So I hope that starts to make sense on the triads and why they're important, how to find them, how to common chord shapes, because they're in all these open chords, they're in there. There's another shape right there that's a triad. triad. These 3 strings, strings 5, 4, and 3. So I'm fingering an E chord up here. Strings 5, 4, and 3. This is a nice one because you just move it. You don't have to change your fingering at all. So if that's E, this is an F, F sharp, G. So I start looking at those shapes when you form your chords. There's an A minor. There's another shape, bottom 3 strings. That's an A triad. Instead of playing all 5, we're just playing the bottom 3. You look at that shape and you go, we've got an open string on the 1 string is open, 2 is fretted at the 1st fret, and 3 is fretted at the 2nd fret. So we got to keep that going by adding that finger to compensate. So there's your minor. We can't play that there because we have to move our fingers around to compensate for that open string. Again, if you look at the 3 strings, 3 bottom strings, it's just this. Actually, that finger isn't even in it. It's just these 2 fingers. That's a minor triad. You can hear the minor. Root on that one is on the 3rd string. There's your A note, so this is the A minor. It's just kind of a stair-stepping. So you just go to the next string, upper fret, to the next string, upper fret. It's a minor triad with the root on the G string. Whatever note that is, that determines the name of the chord. So if you know your chromatic scale, or you know you look at what note is that? Well, you can go backwards to the octave. 1, 2, 1, 2. Whatever that note is the same as this note. Well, I know that's a D because I got my C chord here, and there's my C. whole step up, that's a D. So that's pretty easy to know. That D, same as this D. Octave different. So this right here is a D minor. Because I know what that root note is on the third string. D minor. Hear that minor sound? Major sound. Bright and cheerful. Minor sound. D major. D minor. It's a very sad sounding chord. So just look at those chords that you already know and analyze them a little bit and realize that there's a triad in there, and that triad can be moved anywhere on the neck, and it can make for some really easy playing. Welcome to the world of triads.